As the princes of Judah are those who remove the bound, remove the law. Do the Maccabees remove the law, or do the Herodians remove the law? And you know, I write in my work that Paul is of Herodian background. Why do I write in my work? Well, actually, one of you people in my classes pointed out to me, I'd already thought that Paul was Herodian background, because he has a very peculiar form of Judaism. And if you look at later in Josephus, there is a Saulus. This is the Greek, Saulus or Saulus with a U, it doesn't matter, who was leading riotous behavior in the period leading up to the war against Rome in the 50s. And he's an Herodian prince. And later on he goes to Rome with an appeal to Rome, and so on and so forth. And he had a lot of parallels to Saul's behavior. I think Herodians infiltrated this movement. Maybe there were some warlike Herodians who want to be part of it, and so on. I write about it in my books. But the main people, I think, who are infiltrating this movement of royal blood is Helena of Adiabene. Now, she is a Kurdish queen in northern Iraq who converts to Judaism. It's in Josephus. And a man called Ananias and some other unnamed person gets in among the women of this king's harem out there and converts them. Well, they teach that circumcision is unnecessary. Then Queen Helen's two sons are reading the scripture, and another teacher from Galilee named Eleazar comes and says, do you understand the meaning of what you are reading? This is in the Talmud and in Josephus. And they immediately went out and circumcised themselves. So there's one teacher who's preaching circumcision and one who isn't. And one of the teachers is Ananias. Who greets Paul in Damascus? Ananias. Who's Paul's traveling companion? Ananias. If you read Eusebius, who are their letters written to the king of the peoples beyond the Euphrates that Eusebius discovers in the chancellery records of northern Syria? And who is the courier back and forth to Jerusalem? Ananias. I don't know if it's all the same, but it seems to be all the same person. He's a colleague of Paul's. He's one of Paul's associates. So what I'm trying to say is that there are conversions going on in Syria. And Queen Helen is one of the big ones in the Talmud and in Josephus. And she sends her sons, which is why I dedicate my James book to them, among others. I said the two sons of the Ethiopian queen who martyred themselves at the pass of Beit Horon. They are Helen's descendants. One's called Manabasis, and the other is called Kennedeus. And I can't remember, it's Kennedeus, but in any case, the first engagement against the Romans, could the Jews fight? Did they know how to fight? Now, these are men of war who are trained in fighting. Herodians, some of them, and some of them are from this northern Syrian royal family, and they die. The pass at Beit Horon is the pass that the Roman armies would take to come up from the plain to Jerusalem. And they fought in the first engagement of the war. And alongside of them was someone called John the Essene. Where's all this from? Josephus. I couldn't get through it all, but you have to read all that carefully. So, yeah, I think that there are princes of Judah who removed the bond. They didn't have a word for Jewish at that time, so the princes of the Jewish nation there, which I think not real princes, it's rulers, would be the Herodian family. They removed the bond, and the liar is one of the big removers of the bond at the beginning of this document. And wrath shall be poured upon them, and they are diseased without cure. Are they good people, the present leadership? Do you think the Maccabees would be talked about like they are diseased without cure? I don't think so. That's what I mean, internal evidence. It's just, anyone who reads it just piles up, piles up, piles up. But if you go to Harvard, or if you go to Oxford, or if you go to UC San Diego, or UC Berkeley, or wherever, they'll tell you something entirely different, and all the students in the class will absolutely believe them. Because they're the professors, and they know everything. That's why they're at Harvard and Princeton Yale and these great places, because they're so smart. Yeah. And, but they don't read the texts. With the classes, they just tell them. So you tell me, you think that the Maccabees would be called diseased without cure and he will exterminate them, they're all rebels? This hatred, this animosity towards the establishment is big time, do you follow me? It's not small stuff. These people really are full of vengeful hatred. And then we hear in Dead Sea Scroll studies, peaceful essayings. I mean, I'm sorry to heap abuse and laugh at that, well, what can I do? You're seeing the documents here. And look at manuscript B adds, since they have turned aside from since they have not turned aside from the way of traitors. There's the traitor language. We're going to get that in the Habakkuk Pesher, and we're going to get that in the Judas Iscariot presentation. But the two literatures are playing off each other, one the opposite of the other. Oh, here's another description of them. They have immersed themselves in all the ways of fornication, the Maccabees of the Herodians, and evil riches. They have been vengeful and borne malice against his brother, each man hating his brother. What should it be? Loving your brother and loving your neighbor yourself. So you just read the text. Each man has sinned against the flesh of his own flesh. What does that mean? He's approached close relatives for fornication and marriage. Niece marriage, close cousin marriage. The Qumran group is the only group that bans that. In Judaism, Rabbinic Judaism never banned marriage with close cousins or nieces. Christianity does, to some extent, afterwards. And Christianity follows the monogamy preached here too. So this is a kind of missing link to some extent in these areas. But I put the genealogies of the Herodians at the end of all my books, and all of them are involved in marriage with close cousins. Herodias marries two uncles, not just one. In any case, that mini war that I told you that John the Baptist lost his life in had to do with the man who wanted Herodias. Why did he want Herodias? He's her uncle, but he's one of Herod's sons who was not by a Jewish mother. He's not a Maccabean Herodian son. He's by one of Herod's 10 other wives, or 8 other wives. He wants to plug in, literally, to the Maccabean line. Don't mean to be vulgar there. You know, and so does the other one, you know. And in the New Testament, it said, John says that you're not raising up sons, child unto your brother. And it calls the man Philip, the first husband. But Josephus specifically says that Philip died childless. So he could have been raising up sons unto his brother. So that's a contradiction right